to History Nuts. I'm Russ Carson Jr., the founder of Family Tree Nuts. At Family Tree Nuts, we build family trees for people, and we produce videos at historic locations and videos that help to honor your ancestors.
I'm Jameson Cable, founder of the Kentucky History Podcast, where we talk about anything Kentucky history, events, people. If it has to do with Kentucky, we're going to discuss it.
And we've teamed up together to bring you History Nuts.
History Nuts is a live show where we talk about, you guessed it, history.
Right. History seems to be less and less to people today, but we are trying to do everything we can to keep it alive.
Absolutely. History is a passion of ours for sure, but it connects to you. Russ, tell us about the best part of the show.
You can join in. You can comment and ask questions live.
We've got a great topic today, and we know you're going to enjoy this episode of
History Nuts.
And we are live. We are live, Jameson. Here we are, buddy.
We're ready to roll. We're ready to flock together here, aren't we?
Flock together, and it starts right off the bat with some bird puns. You told me you had some bird puns along the way, so I'm looking forward to those.
Well, we'll try to keep it professional as best we can.
I'm pretty excited about this particular episode of History Nuts, though, because this is quite a different type of story than we normally do, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of a different. I don't know, a character maybe a different character. You know, not a war hero, not a soldier, nothing like that.
Right. Yeah. That's true. And not a politician, somebody that doesn't have like a massive significant impact to a region or an area, but definitely to culture. And it's a name that I'd be willing to say that most people have heard the word Audubon, but necessarily don't know much about who he is.
So don't forget, subscribe, or not subscribe to the YouTube channels, yes, but comment where you're from and tell us your favorite bird.
There you go. Yeah, what is your favorite bird? What's your favorite bird, Jameson?
I guess if I had to pick one, since I'm in Kentucky, I don't know if this is possible, but I guess a cardinal, my favorite bird.
Is it?
I mean,
because you're a Louisville fan?
No. See, that's the problem. You know, I'm not.
You got a conundrum there, don't you? Because my favorite, of course, would have to be the American bald eagle. I mean, come on, man. You know, kind of thing.
That's right.
That's there. Alice says, "Good evening from Alabama," and somebody that shared it says that it's the Ohio State bird. Yes, it is the Ohio State bird. Also, the cardinal. I mean, I'm curious to know how many states the cardinal is the state bird of. So yeah, chime in with some questions and comments, and let us know where you're from. We've got an interesting topic tonight about a guy that, like I say, you've probably heard the word, but don't know a whole lot about who he was. And we don't have to do stuff that's connected to Kentucky, but this guy happens to have a connection to Kentucky as well, doesn't
he? Yep. Another good connection to Kentucky. Lived there a little bit, but we'll get into that. Do you want me to pronounce his full name, or try to?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let me hear your French accent.
All right, my French accent. Jean-Jacques. Jean-Jacques.
Jacques. That's a different accent.
Yeah, that's my Kentucky French. What was it? Do what?
Yeah, he's got a few other official names there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't want to even try those. Audubon.
Yeah. Audubon. That's right. And he was born. Where in the heck was this guy born at?
Born in Haiti, correct?
Haiti. That's how you pronounce that with a French accent. Haiti.
Oh yeah. John James
Haiti.
Audubon. That's That's who we're talking about, though. John James Audubon.
Yeah, Jean-Jacques. Right. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
Audubon.
Haiti. Um, yeah, yeah. How did he get? I mean, that's kind of an odd. So he's born in Haiti. How did he get to Kentucky? Where did that even start from?
Well, he's got a few steps before that, kind of thing. He's born in Haiti. His parents are not married, and born out of wedlock. But his mother dies when he's just an infant, and he's born on his father's sugarcane plantation there in Haiti. His dad was a French naval officer, and actually commanded a ship during the American Revolution. Was taken captive by the British, and then, of course, joined the American Revolution's cause and such. His dad eventually, if you know a little bit about Haitian history, which I doubt very many people do, there was a tremendous slave revolt there in Haiti, where basically they took over the whole daggone country, per se, and the French fled. And so his father went back to France, and Nantes is where they lived, outside of Nantes, Nantes, and that's where they he took his son with him. It was an illegitimate child, but they adopted him and raised him as his own there in France.
So that is a lot. So I mean, he's got some pretty good ties to America. I mean, in that. So was his dad, I guess, a natural-born French citizen, or?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely a Frenchman, and he diversified himself in multiple different businesses and things too. What's that dinging? You hear that dinging? Every time I hear a bell, like ding ding. I keep hearing a ding. So I've just you ever seen that movie Up with the dog and the squirrels?
Oh yeah, squirrel.
Yeah, somehow or another we're getting a ding from text messages or something coming through there, but before his dad went back to France in 1789, he purchased a 284-acre farm outside of Philadelphia, very near modern-day Valley Forge. So Dad not only was a naval officer, but he started to buy land all over the place too.
So did he? So he bought the land, though? It wasn't like granted to him or anything like that, or just bought it?
Purchased it as an investment opportunity. He did have tenants that ran the farm there for him. Then they went back to France. He had hoped that his son John would become a naval officer like himself. He worked as a cabin boy when he was at age 13, but C didn't agree with him, did it?
Well, what's it called? He didn't have sea legs, I guess. Is that
Right.
what it is?
Didn't have sea legs. He got seasick, and he enjoyed the outdoors, and he enjoyed the wildlife that he encountered, but he hated math. Like the rest of us.
You gotta. I guess he's a pretty common problem with that people tend to hate math sometimes. Was his dad? I mean, would we say this was pretty high up society, French guy? I mean, would we say? I mean, pretty. I mean, I don't know, noble. I don't know how noble you could say, but obviously he has money.
Captain of the ship. He definitely was not normal. He owned multiple different estates. So this guy, none of them were tremendously large estates that I'm aware of, but he did own multiple different properties. So he was not a normal average Joe, I guess you'd say. John James Audubon was taught dancing and even fencing and all that kind of stuff when he was a child there in France. So he didn't live just a normal life per se, but right about the time that he turned 18, the Napoleonic Wars were gearing up there, and he did not want his son to be called up to serve in the French army. So him and one of his buddies, they sent their two sons to the United States to immigrate with the guise of managing his father's affairs there at Mill Grove, at the plantation or the farm there outside of Philly. So that's how he ends up coming to America when he's 18 years old.
But he had to sail there. I mean, it must have been a pretty rough, rough trip for him. I would assume if he was seasick or got
Absolutely.
seasick. I mean, it's a good
Well, he didn't
2-week
fly,
tour, I
I'll say
believe.
that. But, so I think that was 1803. 1803, he came to the U.S. I got a couple comments there. Bobby Olson says, "Hey guys, St. Paul, Minnesota, where they're watching from." Jerry Lamb says there's a state park here in Kentucky. I mean, that's at the very, very end of the show. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but yeah, man, I guess we're done now. We'll get out of here. State park in Kentucky. So Michael Bush says that Sir Michael of Lewis County, now Canadian Lakes, Michigan. Chris says hi, gents, and Don says hello, guys. And Michael Bush says that he is not related to Audubon. He's the fellow that's related to everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
Everybody except the
There you go.
French aristocracy, I guess. So, but, yeah, man. So he arrives in New York Harbor, but he has yellow fever when he arrives, and he gets quarantined and sent to a boarding house ran by some Quaker women, and that they taught him English while he recovered.
Oh, wow.
Imagine coming here and not even knowing English.
Yeah, that would be quite the hurdle to overcome, I guess. I mean, I cannot even begin to pronounce and learn another language. So with nobody else around you speaking a different language is definitely going to be difficult.
Sure, he knew some English, to come over here, and things. But this is the first time that he's exposed to the English language. And really, it's the last major time in his life where he was in a francophone environment, French-speaking environment. That's what francophone means.
Oh, man, yeah, that's a fancy word.
Well, one of my things that people probably don't have any idea about, I actually taught in all over Africa in French, taught African military skills and things like that. So just another lifetime ago. So I do know enough French to keep me alive there. But so he goes back to the farm, Mill Grove Farm there outside of Philly, to live in the house that was actually with the tenants of his father. And he meets a gal, and they were going to mine the lead there at the, but lead's a pretty big commodity during the time, isn't it?
Well, that's what I was about to ask you. What's the big deal about lead at the time?
Bullets.
Gotta have those bullets.
Yeah, man.
I guess that'd be the pebbles, the little like round bullets. That would be the lead bullets, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. All right.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And still lead in a lot of cases today, but they're not little round musket balls and things. But and he meets a gal and wants to get married. So in 1805, he went back to France, which was risky because if they knew he was there, he could have been conscripted back into the army and fought for Napoleon over there. And he also tells his dad that, Dad, I want to kind of sell the farm or most of it. I think it's a little bit of a risky venture, and he wanted to get his permission to go even further west.
Yeah, I think his dad was probably raving mad, wasn't he?
His dad actually supported it, kind of thing. So,
good.
His dad was pretty successful back home. He gets his dad's permission, goes back home and organizes with his buddy, and they go to Rozier, his buddy Rozier. The two fathers were friends back in France, so they came over. The two boys came over to the United States. So in 1808, he moves to the huge city of Louisville. Kentucky.
Whoa! Wow, big Louisville, big timing down the Ohio.
Yeah, they actually, left Pittsburgh and came down to Louisville, where they opened and operated a general store.
hmm Which he's over time he's had his hand in quite a bit of different professions, I guess, hasn't he? I mean, successful and unsuccessful, but a lot of them.
Well, it's funny you said that. Is this starts a pretty successful time in his life, in business and such. But there's one common theme that we haven't hit on about him is that his mind's a wandering, kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot. He wrote many letters to his wife. He kept a journal from early days in his life, so we know a whole lot about John James Audubon from that. And the guy was destined for greatness. He achieved some greatness later in life, and we're jumping ahead here. But it's interesting as a younger man, even with finding moderate success, he was hindered by his true calling of who he was, and that's kind of the theme, I think, of who he is as a man, isn't it?
Yeah. He's a wanderer, kind of what you said there. So how long was he at the general store? How long does that last?
Well, they only lasted for 2 years there in Louisville. There was an embargo. Well, President Jefferson put an embargo on the British, right before the War of 1812, which affected trade along the Ohio River there dramatically. And there was a lot of competition and such. So him and his partner Rosier actually moved the business downriver a piece, to a little bit west of Owensboro to the community of Henderson, which is across the river from Evansville, Indiana. And his partner Rosier actually set up in St. Genevieve outside of St. Louis, modern day St. Louis, and they operate general stores, shipping and receiving. They got their hands in all kinds of businesses and such. There they find success.
Yeah. How far is St. Louis from Evansville? What's the distance there?
Well, driving wise is, I don't know, about 3 hours or so.
Okay.
Owensboro is
On
another.
a boat.
Owensboro is about an hour and a half downriver from Louisville. And then he's another, back in those days, man, I mean, another couple weeks, kind of that week or so downriver there. But, that's something, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something, as a student of history, I am absolutely amazed at the ground that people covered, back in those days.
Yeah.
Especially in the early settlement of Kentucky, they're constantly going back to, Williamsburg and such, 30 days journey,
like it's nothing, we're going to run to Williamsburg or wherever and get what we need. Take your whole year traveling, it'd seem like. But, different time, different methods.
For sure. Yeah, man. And then let's see if we've got any. But during this time, Audubon himself actually mentions that they had success at the store, at the business, when he was present, meaning that he was not present a lot. He's a wanderer. He's just like our friend Daniel Boone and others that we've talked about.
It doesn't really want that company. I don't feel like he wants to be outside. He wants to be, wondering. That's about it.
And he makes many journal entries and such about how much that he is just astonished by birds. He says that, when he goes to sleep, he's thinking about birds and he dreams about birds and, kind of thing. It was definitely who he was. And it's about this time that he starts to draw and paint birds. This is when he first discovers this. He stays out in the woods, out in the wilderness, and spent a lot of time with Native Americans out there. He mentions Shawnee, that he you gonna say something?
So yeah, I was gonna say, so if he was probably to play a sport or something, he would probably never call a foul, would he?
You might call a foul every time, right? Did you make a list of these? I guess.
I'm just trying to plug them in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of amazed at Audubon because I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but I really admire him because we're going to find out that he sticks to who he is, who he's meant to be,
Mhm, mhm.
and we also
Well,
learned. Go ahead.
he kind of tries to fit sometimes, and this is correct for everybody. Uh, try to fit a mold. I guess he tries to fit this mold that maybe his father is kind of wanting him to do this stuff, but like you said, he sticks to his gun or sticks to his calling, and he goes that way. But go ahead.
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, that it's admirable. I mean, I earlier in life I've read about 4 foot tall stack of success books of things, and I've learned that men rarely achieve who they are until they're into their 40s, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, and this is
Hmm.
the same. He's another example of that because early in life he's trying to make his way in business, and
Hmm.
he sticks to he has a family to take care of. He has 2 sons. He had 2 daughters that actually died early in life. I think one died after about I think she died after about 3 months, and another one about 9 months old, which
Yeah.
was incredibly tragic, but common for the time period. But
Hmm.
while he's doing his wandering, he says that he actually met up with Daniel Boone.
Cool. Oh, Boone. He works his way into everything, doesn't he?
Everybody wants to be associated with him, even today, right? You
Yeah. Yeah.
part of Daniel Boone. But we know that Boone was in that area, and he did spend a lot of time. He was actually, I think it was in when was the earthquake?
Wasn't
1811.
it? Yeah. Yeah.
1811. He has a detailed journal inscription of. He was in Missouri during the New Madrid earthquake. We know that
Yeah.
the Kentucky, was it the Mississippi River flowed backwards, didn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Pretty wild time. That would be really cool. I would like to read that specific entry, if anything, of like what he kind of said and thought was going on, because
Well,
that's a unusual point in history when you think about it. Just that
he
date
thought a
or that time.
tornado was coming. He thought a tornado was
Yeah,
coming, and he talks about his horse. Basically his horse, when he felt the rumbles, his horse like sprawled out on all, kind of like it was standing on ice, kind of thing,
yeah,
and was really hesitant about taking off. And he was trying to get him to go, but he wouldn't go, because the animal had this intuition. But eventually, the horse took off, kind of thing, and ran. But it's pretty neat entry for sure. Um, the War of 1812 kicked off, and he decided that he wanted to become a U.S. citizen, and he went all the way to Philadelphia to do so.
hmm,
Became a citizen. He had to denounce his French citizenship, and now he's a real American. Comes back home and finds out that his early drawings that he had done on his birds and other wildlife were eaten by
Oh
rats.
man, oh man, that is rough. I guess. Oh gosh, rats ate them all. How many did he have at the time, or did they?
I'd be lying to tell you I knew for sure, but I know that that's when he had started, to doing his
Mhm.
sketches and things. And he's pretty much self-taught. He did have some others that influenced him along the way and showed him some things, but he went into what they say is a few-week long depression,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
because everything was ruined, by the rats. But the positive to it is he said, I'm going to do it even better this time. And
Mhm.
like in life, if you follow the success stories of people, there's a great book out called Think and Grow Rich. It has nothing to do with history. Well, it kind of does. It has a lot of historic people in there, but
Yeah.
it's a study of people that just kept trying, kind of thing. And we've
Yeah.
talked about this many times on this show, and eventually found success. And a lot of the setbacks that they thought was somewhat of a ruin for them actually steered them on the path of success. So he made a determination he was going to perfect his designs and his drawings and paintings of birds.
Mhm.
Why
Yeah, so
bird?
I mean, and huh?
Why
What?
bird?
Bird? I don't know. I think I don't know. That's kind of a little awkward, ain't it? I mean, with birds, I don't
There's a
know.
lot of people that are into birds, a lot of bird watchers and such, a lot of times in retirement and things. And in my old age, I've become quite a fan of birds. I have multiple bird feeders on my property that I maintain and feel obligated. I'd probably spend about $50 a month on all the bird seed that I buy for all my birds. But it is a common thing
What?
for older folks, Jameson. One day you'll be there.
Well, what? What? I know. Well, what's it called? Is it ornithologist? Is that how you say
Yeah,
it?
ornithology.
Ornithologist. Yeah. Is that? I mean, that's the study of birds, I guess, or the.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. That's a.
Yeah, man. So he prospered during this time period right here. This is where he found much success, and his house was a substantial house. He actually
Mhm.
purchased multiple slaves during this time too.
Mhm.
But in 1819, there was a depression that hit the United States, and
Mhm.
he lost it all,
Yes. He
everything.
had this. I believe didn't he? And he sold his slaves and everything. I believe, right?
He sold everything, everything. I mean, he
Mhm.
sold. He basically said that all he had left was his talents,
Oh
and
wow. Yeah.
he spent some time in a debtor's prison actually for a little bit.
Oh wow.
So and this really for a lot of people would be the end of the story, kind of thing
Yeah.
for most of us.
That was a. I would say, however long it was probably a pretty big burden to be in jail.
Is that another pun? Another a bird in. Yeah, I got you. I caught it. It's, yeah, man. So I'm going to give you a
Yeah.
bird here in a second. But he spent some time in a debtor's prison. But now he is now when he's really becomes who he can be. Sometimes the adversity creates an opportunity for people, and he earns the majority of his income from painting portraits of people. I mean,
Mhm.
this is
Mhm.
several decades before photography, and he's hired by multiple people. $5 a pop. They paint a portrait of people, and
Yeah.
they either paint them or have you ever heard of a charcoal of someone?
I mean, do they use charcoal to paint them?
Yeah, they do. Well, to
Oh, yeah.
draw a
Yeah.
portion of them. In the genealogy world, I've come across multiple of these. They're usually around 1800 to 1850ish, 50ish, I
Yeah.
guess, kind of thing. You find an actual drawing of somebody. $5 was a lot of money back then in order to do
Yeah.
so. But, it was not a certain type of occupation that's going to earn you a ton of money, kind of thing. But that's
Mhm.
where he started, and it's
Mhm.
right about this time that he got a job at what's called the Western History Society. Do you know where that was?
No, I'm gonna say Louisville?
Cincinnati. Went to
Cincinnati? Well, I
the
was trying to go west. I was trying to think of as far west as I can go. So there you go, Cincinnati. There you go.
yeah, and it was one of the first museums there. It's now the Cincinnati Museum Center that's still there, and so he was hired by them to create the drawings and to create artwork and things. And
Mhm.
I think it was 1820 at this point. He goes down the Mississippi or down the Ohio, down the Mississippi River. He's finally living up to his ambitions of painting birds. He finally says, "You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do," and
He's
made it
living it
happen.
up. He's
He
living
went,
his dream.
he took a friend with him, a fellow by the name of Joseph Mason. You know how old Joseph was when they went on this adventure?
Mm, I mean, so I'm gonna say, like, I don't know, in his 40s, 30s,
13.
13.
13.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Joseph
So
Mason had an incredible talent of painting, like horticulture, painting leaves and sticks
yeah,
and trees and things like that. So a lot of people don't know this, but if you're familiar with John James Audubon, you know he painted the birds and things. We're going to talk about that here real quick. But his assistant painted a lot of the backgrounds, you know, the
foliage.
sticks and
The
trees the birds were on.
Yeah, yeah. Real quick, Eva Martin here says that her favorite bird would be the cardinal, but also the hummingbird as well. So there you go. Cardinal. You know, I guess my favorite state bird is definitely gonna be the cardinal, but you know, the eagle is also pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan actually said that something about he was on FTN's account there, but he said it was a awkward moment, kind of thing. So it's just we're keeping rolling with it, man. You started something, so yeah. So now this is an interesting time because, like Boone,
hmm
this starts a very long time in his life, really about 20-year time period, where he stays away from his family a whole lot. Um,
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
he paints his birds, for the next couple of years. His wife Lucy was back home, was really the breadwinner of the family, and
What's she
she
doing?
was a teacher,
Okay. And
and
like just a school teacher, or like a
yeah,
different more.
just like Jameson Cable,
Is that me,
kind of
man?
thing.
Oh well, she is rolling in the dough.
Rolling. So, but he at this time he was painting portraits of people that he come across, commissioned, sending money
hmm
home. But his main mission was to paint his birds, and he
Yeah.
became quite a talented artist. At that,
hmm
um, and he
But he
actually
also
got a.
he also I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
he also though discovered birds too, right? Like
Absolutely.
documented new birds. I think I read somewhere, but I mean it was in the like 100 or something like that. Or not, maybe not 100, maybe it was like 20 or something. Um, quite a bit, quite a bit of birds. He was a bird man.
It's the Birdman, yes, sir. And it was something that it was his calling, and he actually got a job. Him and his partner there at the Oakley plantation there in Louisiana, and he
hmm
taught his employer's younger daughter drawing. So he was employed by a very wealthy family to teach their daughter drawing. But he loved the
Yeah.
job. It was very low paying. And him and his assistant, they lived in a little tiny room underneath the stairs. And you can visit this place today. But it
Wow.
gave him time to basically wander and to go about the forest and things like that, and
hmm
be who he was supposed to be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So. I mean, the
How
guy,
much?
the guy is a genius. It's a talent that's totally foreign to me. Art and
hmm
vision and things like that. He walked the line of science and artistry,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But the things that he was able to do was just absolutely amazing, and how he would
Yes.
capture things at 3D and things. So.
hmm hmm Um, yeah, kind of one of those. What's it called? A genius, savant in a way. I mean, the fact that he's just drawing birds, that was his kind of thing. He could do it really well. Um, but it goes to say a lot that he kind of followed his calling, and didn't he tried other things, but still he stayed true to what he kind of wanted to do. Um, did he make a lot of money though? In the end, how many books did he have? Did he have a few books?
Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that before,
You
but
gonna get to that?
before we do, we got a comment. Don says that his grandmother had a book called the Audubon Collection, and she was a bird watcher. And that's definitely what he does. He did make a lot of money in the end, but we're going to get to that here in a second. But before we do, we better take off. We got a quick commercial. We're going to show one of your videos.
Yes, Grant Brothers, I believe.
Stay with us to the end there. We've got we're going to sum up the whole story of John James Audubon.
Samuel, John, and Squire Grant were early settlers in Kentucky. John was the oldest and was born in 1754 in North Carolina. Samuel was born in 1762 and Squire in 1764. John and Samuel moved to Kentucky in 1779. They built a fort near Bryan Station in Lexington. John moved around a lot, first back to North Carolina and then to Virginia. John also became a colonel in the military. He came back to Kentucky in 1784. Samuel was killed by Native Americans in either 1789 or 1792. At the time, he was in Indiana. Squire was a surveyor who also owned a lot of land in Campbell County. He served in the Kentucky Senate from 1801 to 1806. John died in 1826. Squire died in 1855. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the Grant brothers. Each of them contributed to Kentucky's early settlement. There is one other connection the Grant brothers have to Kentucky. Grant County, the 67th county of Kentucky, was named after them, or one of them. The most likely is Samuel, because he died in battle, and that tends to be the common theme in county names. If you died in battle, you may have got a county named after you. Don't forget to try out audibletrial.com/KYHistoryPod to get a free book of your choosing. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification button for more Kentucky history content. If you'd like to support the channel, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/KYHistoryPod. Find us on these social media platforms and check out the Kentucky History Podcast on these podcast platforms for more in-depth history of Kentucky. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And we're back. We're back. Hey, that's cool, man. I hadn't seen that one yet, and I did not know where Grant County got its name.
Mm-hmm. Now, it is a debate. Some people say it's John Grant that got the name, but I don't. It's not a determined thing, but so it's not a foolproof or fully vetted thing, I guess.
I wonder how many people think it's named after General Ulysses S. Grant.
I would say a lot, because a lot of people think Lincoln County is named after Abraham Lincoln. So
right.
I would say that is quite common. They probably think Clay County is named after Henry Clay too. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I really like your videos about the counties and things like that. It's a great service you guys are doing over there at the Kentucky History. You guys have got all kinds of stuff going on over there. But many spoons in the dish. Is that is that the saying or something like that, or ladles in the bowl or something? I heard arms in the fire. But
there you go. Same concept. There you go.
What's the website again?
KentuckyHistory.co, not com, co. So
absolutely.
That's where you find all our videos, all our podcasts, all that stuff. We switched to the website generating the podcast. A lot of the old episodes, basically all the old episodes, are now just on the website. So you have to go to the website or the YouTube channel to listen to the older ones. All the new ones will now be, if you subscribed, it'll still be there, but all the new ones will be generated onto the podcast apps. So
good deal.
Little hiccup there, but that is, we're rolling on. We're good.
Yeah, I noticed that, when I was listening to you guys the other day. So, but yeah, man, I always try to, anytime I have to do anything laborious, is that a word? Laborious? Laborious? Anything that,
I like one.
Any kind of work I got to do, I always listen to the Kentucky History Podcast, kind of thing. So, and what's bad about it, Jameson, is that I constantly have to rewind. I catch myself focusing on what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't miss second of what you guys are saying, kind of thing. So I'm
Yeah.
constantly rewinding, and hearing the same thing about 17 times. But anyway, moving on to John James Audubon. So let's see, we had a couple guys.
His book.
Lillian
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Lillian said, "Hey guys from Chapmanville, West Virginia. My folks live very near there." She's probably really close to my parents. Liberty Seeker on YouTube says, "Keeping history alive, much appreciated." And I don't know the name. It looks like it's Russian, but says, "Have you heard of the Audubon, New Jersey?" Absolutely. That's kind of the end of the show too. There's a lot of things named after Audubon. So, but what was you getting ready to say, Jameson?
His books. Were we to his books yet? He's got
Really close. We're
really
right
close.
there.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm very excited about the book. So I just go ahead.
excited. Yeah, very excited. People are going to watch this 10 years from now, and
they're gonna say, "Man, what was this guy thinking?"
Right. I appreciate it though. That's good stuff. I really do. And so, early 1820s, he's roaming about Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Alabama, documenting his birds. He's painting his birds, and now he officially has a collection that he's extremely proud of. He painted his birds. Did you know that the original books that he did, they were painted life size?
Oh, wow. So yeah, that's quite impressive.
The original document,
I guess
like 40 foot by or 40 inches.
Yeah, I was about to
by
say the books had to be pretty big.
40 by 30. I know he perfected a grid pattern in his paintings so he could make them proportionate to what they were. And bigger birds, it's why if you look at his portraits, you'll see the bigger birds are in some kind of a folded up position, like a flamingo is, shown with his head down and up. And so he could fit it all on that piece of paper right there. Some of the pages had multiple birds on there, but in 1824, he ventures to Philadelphia with the goal in mind of finding a publisher for his paintings. But he runs into some problems there.
Financial problems?
No financial problems, but he's looking for a publisher, and a lot of people are critical of what he's done. You might be surprised to find that anytime someone tries to achieve something in life, there's those that are really eager to kick him down.
Nobody wanted his birds, huh? They're like, why are you bringing us all these pictures of birds?
Well, the scientific community was saying that some of the things that he did was not realistic. For example, there's one painting that he has where a rattlesnake is in a tree getting ready to attack one of the birds that are there. So they're saying, "Hey, man, rattlesnakes don't climb trees, man." And not only that, the fangs of that rattlesnake is not drawn proportionately to how it is. So there's a lot of people that were looking for ways to shoot holes in his paintings and things. So he also ran into some politics of he had some competition out there, a fellow ornithologist that were studying birds, and some of those people lobbied the publishers to not publish Audubon's paintings because they wanted their people's paintings to be published. Like everything else, man, you got to get the patent first, right?
Competition, yeah. They're all, man, that's kind of, you wouldn't think that would be a problem or that would be a issue, but yeah. Gotta get the birds done. I guess there's competition in everything. So
yeah, no doubt. That's for sure. And so, he went, during his time in Philly, he meets multiple different people that support him and things like that, and encourage him to go to England, actually.
Yeah.
So in 1826, he ventures to England, where he spends the
Across the
next
pond.
few years.
Wow. Wow. Getting his work published, I assume, right?
Well, he's given letters of recommendation from a lot of people there in Philadelphia. So he links up with some people that are able to help him. And there was a huge hunger. A lot of people don't realize this, but some of the reasons why our American folk heroes are so big is because there was such a hunger back in Mother England, kind of
Yeah.
thing, that for American frontier history and
Uh-huh.
stories and such. People like Boone and Davy Crockett and
Yeah.
things like that were extremely popular back in Great Britain, England, and Scotland, Wales, and
I guess it was,
Ireland.
the unexplored. They wanted to know about the unexplored, the adventure that was going on down, around there. I assume that at this point in England, every spot had probably been crossed at some point. So
Right, absolutely. So he's introduced to some very influential people, and they decide to go ahead and publish his works, The Birds of North America. I'll say that again, The Birds of North America. And that is his ultimate success. He did many other things, but The Birds of North America is what he's most known for. And he makes the money on that by subscription. See, he didn't have it all completed right in the beginning. So he would sell subscriptions to organizations or wealthy individuals he basically take a commission with the anticipation of producing another print to add to their books and things. But so he goes about seeking subscriptions, and he does something completely, absolutely genius, in my opinion. He dresses like a backwoodsman.
Oh, there you go.
Kind of thing. This is a guy he was raised moderate French aristocracy. He was taught fencing as a young boy. He was a cabin boy. His father was a French officer, but he plays the role of the country bumpkin backwoodsman out on the American frontier. He had to have a French accent too. He had to have a French accent.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And here he is, though, man. That is genius. That's a genius move.
It reminds me of Colonel Sanders, Harlan Sanders, that embraced the role of the colonel. And had he not been made a Kentucky colonel, he may not have became the chicken may not have sold as well, right?
Yep. Wow, that's pretty impressive. So how long so he was there for, you said 2 years?
Between 2 and 3 years, he was there in England. We don't know if he went back and forth or not, but he published his paintings. He had 435 paintings of 497 birds there initially, with promises of painting others. Have you seen his paintings, Jameson?
Just the ones on the web. I've seen a few of those. I mean, as far as they go, they look good to me. I'm not a painting expert or anything like that.
No, I'm not either. But what he's known for is the lifelike, the way that he made them look like what they were really doing. Before Audubon painted his birds, most people painted them off of taxidermy animals, taxidermy birds, stuffed birds.
Yeah.
So if you look at a lot of the birds and stuff and animals that were painted before Audubon, they're in lifelike poses,
unnatural positions. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of thing. But Audubon painted what he saw, and he was also, one thing we didn't say, he was an avid hunter. Kind of thing. He was out there and hunted them, and he perfected a wiring technique where he would wire the birds in lifelike positions that he witnessed with his own eyes, and then painted them from that. So
I know. Wow. That's pretty pretty creative dude here. I mean, he's able to do some, I would say, some new technology as far as painting goes, and so forth. Just not the big painter. I don't know. I don't have the painting eye to judge one's painting. The artistic eye, I guess.
That's a different subject, which is why Audubon is a totally different subject than what we normally do. In 1829, he goes back to the United States. He hunts lots of different animals and such, sends the skins to England, to people back in Great Britain, people that had a hunger for such things, another way to make some money, kind of thing, very creative. And he adventures. I mean, I could go for the next hour and a half and talk about all the different adventures that he has all over Maine. You know, he goes down,
Florida. He goes to Florida, doesn't he?
Louisiana. You know, he goes out west. He's all over the place having adventures to paint his birds. Now he also took on the mission of painting quadrupeds, quadrupeds, four-legged animals in North America. But he never was able to finish that in his lifetime. By 1841, he's extremely successful and buys a big piece of property there in North Manhattan, New York, moves his family there. And that's where he resided until he lived. About 1848, he suffers from what we know as today as dementia. They call him senility and things like that. And for the rest of his life, he's plagued with that, and he passed away on January 27th of 1851 there in New York, and he's buried there in New York, you know, where you can go to him. So family lived in Kentucky a lot, but he was in and out of Kentucky, you know, most of the time. So
he's got a good connection to Kentucky. And as you said, what are some places that are named after him?
Man, he's got a lot of places named after him for sure. That's his, you know, that's his legacy. You know, he has accolades. He was elected to or voted into many different honorable societies there in Great Britain. You know, the Royal Society of Edinburgh, you know, just to name one. His home there at Mill Grove outside of Philly is public. You can visit the place, the Oakley Plantation there in Louisiana, where he was at. The John James Audubon State Park there in Henderson, Kentucky, is there as well. 1905. The biggest thing in 1905, the Audubon Society was created. Do you know about the Audubon Society?
Well, I went to the website before we talked about it, and I don't really know. I guess I have a lot of dealings with birds. I don't really know anything outside of that.
It's really the reason why I know who he is in the first place. I'm older than you, but when we only had a few channels as I was a kid growing up, you know, we'd watch a lot of PBS, and there was a whole lot of animal shows and things like that. That the Audubon Society was a big part of that. The Audubon Society was formed by some wealthy ladies in the late 1800s, and by 1905 it was official. But the whole purpose is the preservation of bird species and things, and you know, protect them and things. And now it's much bigger organization. You know, they have lots of fundraising, a local magazine, you know, website, and all kinds of stuff that can be part of it. It's a huge society, and I don't, you know, the family of John James Audubon, I don't know if they ever realized that how big of a name his dad would be.
Yeah. Well, you know, thinking about, you know, talking about, I guess, his legacy. Like, a lot of people, you know, probably don't know at all who he is. And then you say, well, what's he famous for? And most people are going to be surprised that he's most famous for painting birds. That's going to throw people for a loop. They're not going to expect that. But you know, very, very well known, very influential. I mean, somebody who has a legacy for sure, because I mean, loads of things are named after him. So
absolutely, he spent some time. I better put this plug in there. He spent some time in around Brandenburg, Kentucky, in Meade County. We mentioned that one time where we with our friend Montez from the Meade County Local. Check that out, Meade County Local website and Facebook page. But we did a video on the history of Meade County, and Audubon was there for a while. 1940, he had a postage stamp. And, there's only, I think, 2 complete copies of his works that are in existence. One of them is in the Darwin Museum in Moscow, and one is here in the United States. But there's a few of them that are close to being complete, and one of them sold in 2010. You want to guess how much it sold for? You could probably order you a copy.
$50,000.
$11.5 million.
Whoa!
Almost complete sets came up
That
with them.
is that is quite impressive. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. In 2017, they had a movie that came out called Audubon, and there's tons of places. You mentioned there's the Audubon highways, not the Audubon,
not the German Audubon.
Totally different spelling, totally different ethnicity there. But yeah, so quite an influential guy, isn't he?
Yeah, pretty cool dude. Pretty cool. I mean, to think he's this famous for painting birds is pretty cool. But I think also too he was one of the first people. Well, I'm trying to think of Darwin. When was Darwin running around?
Little after this, I do believe.
Yeah, I think I read something that Audubon was the first person who mentioned the word evolution.
Yeah,
and, but I think, but yeah, but pretty cool guy. Good connection to Kentucky as well, because he lived here. So it's pretty neat, dude.
Yeah, it's a unique guy. It's a little different. It's not something that you and I we talk about warriors and statesmen and
frontiersmen. He was a frontiersman
right.
in a way. Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, he was. He and this borderline's a little bit outside of our expertise, but definitely a person of historical significance of our home state here, and something that's really cool to talk about and remember who he is and how all these things came about.
Yeah. We
And one thing I just want to throw out there is what I admire about the guy more than anything is, he finally succumbed to his calling, kind of thing. He was driven for success, and he eventually became who he was supposed to be after tremendous ups and downs in life. He became what he's known for. Then, if he hadn't have done that, no one would know who this guy is.
There you go. That's right. Very true. It takes a lot of courage to pursue that dream. Even though he had other things he had to deal with and all that. So he for him to do it and achieve it and live out his dream, man, that's what he wanted to do. So it's great. But we both get on here and talk. Yeah, we both get on here and talk about history because birds of a feather flock together, right?
That's a fact. You better believe it. That's right. Yeah, man. So, do you have any more before we sign off? Do we need to? You got
I'm ending with that one. I saved that one for the end.
Okay. I don't know if you're going to machine gun them out there at the end, So, but all right. So I guess we'll sign off for now. What do we got next week, Jameson?
We have something, and
we got a list.
We'll wait to find out.
August.
We got a whole schedule and everything, but I don't know off the top of my head what it is.
I don't either. That's the end of the bus there.
Do you know? Oh, okay. We got something planned.
Yeah, I think that the next ones were much more exciting kind of thing than John James Audubon. Not that he's not exciting, but we've got some great shows on the way there. So, but anything else you want to say before we take off?
No, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook page for Family Tree Nuts and Kentucky History podcast there, and that's about it. We got more stuff coming, so stick around.
We sure do. And by the way, videos that you and I did are coming out here in the next few days, so look for those real quick.
Awesome.
But all right, we'll sign off for now, everybody. Thanks for watching us every week, and hey, remember, Family Tree Nuts. Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.
At Family Tree Nuts, we make professional, historic videos all over the country and currently have videos in 25 states and even a few international. Let's face it, nobody wants to read anymore. As a matter of fact, nobody wants to even watch long videos, which is why I'm going to keep this real quick. Moving into the future, how are we going to educate the public on all the historic treasures that are found in every community? We have found the answer. Short, entertaining, and to-the-point videos with lots of shots and views that are relevant to the subject. These videos are shared on social media and are the fastest and least expensive way to educate the community on the history of your area. We have experience working with historical organizations as well as city or county tourism departments and Chamber of Commerce's to produce these videos for their use. Our clients are provided with copies of any video produced as well as online links to the videos that they can easily add to their websites. Let us document and produce videos of just a few or all the historic sites in your area. You will find our rates extremely affordable and well below the industry standard for media production. We are passionate about preserving and documenting as many historical sites as we can, and we would love to work with you. For more information, contact me directly at russ@familytreenuts.org or my personal phone at 859-314-1976. And remember, Family Tree Nuts, let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.